All right, welcome. Hey, today's topic is geometry. This is our new lesson. We have past equations, inequalities, and we're moving into geometry. And some of you guys will really like geometry because it's very visual and there's kind of less numbers involved. So some of you guys might like that. So get out your note composition book, pen, pencil. Let's take some notes. Unfortunately, with geometry, because there's less numbers, there's going to be more note taking. Sorry. Okay. So what is geometry? We discussed this briefly today, or if you're watching this over the weekend, we discussed this on Friday. You know, geometry, geo just means to measure, or I'm sorry, geo just means earth, and metry means to measure. So what is geometry? It's just measuring the earth. You're looking at the angles and the points and all this kind of stuff. So you guys know whenever you see stars to take notes. So what is geometry? It's a branch of mathematics that studies lines and angles and their relationships with one another. And that's what we're going to do for the next couple weeks or so. So I want you to draw this chart and write down these terms. And then you're going to be filling in the blank during the video tutorial. I know it's a lot of work, Mr. Carlisle. I'm sorry. So go ahead, stop, press pause, or come back to this, but draw this chart, write down these terms, okay? And I'm going to move on. So we're going to just talk about some of these terms that you just drew, that you just wrote down. The first thing is, what is a point? A point. Well, a point's just an exact location. Right here I have point E, I have point G, I got point D. These are all exact locations. Well, so write this in your little definition here. You're going to write point, okay? And then the symbol for point, well, is a small dot. The symbol for a point is a point. Yeah, that's kind of complicated. So when you identify a point, you just use a capital letter and the dot. So if I say this, let's get on the right color here. I'm talking about point A. Okay. If I drew this, I'm talking about point D. All right, we got this. Good, let's move on. The next thing is, well, what's a plane? Well, a plane is an endless flat surface. The word endless kind of sounds or can be confusing, but it's a flat surface. Let's just focus on that, a flat surface. So here you're looking at this three-dimensional box, and you can see there's several planes here. I've got a plane here, a plane here, and a plane here. It's a flat surface. And when you identify a plane, you can identify a couple different ways. You would say there's not really a symbol for a plane. You just say plane, but you identify it by either using 3 points that are on that plane. So you can say plane FED. So when I say plane FED, here's F, here's E, and here's D. So we're talking about this plane. Or if there's not a point, but there's a letter that's kind of written in italics or so, you can also call it by that, which here it would be plane H. So when I say plane H, I'm talking about this plane, which is also plane FED. Whenever you identify a plane, you got to use 3 points or that italics letter. So here, if I want to identify this plane, I could say plane DEG. I could call this plane as plane DEG, which I'm talking about this plane. Or I can just say plane R, okay? So, what is a plane? Write that down in your definitions. And then the symbol, well, the symbol is really, you just use the word. Symbol is just the word. And then how do you identify? You identify with 3 points. So you would say something like plane FED. Okay, moving on. And then a line. Well, what is a line? Well, a line is a number of points connected that is straight, but it has no end and no beginning. So here, I wrote this down. It's a straight path of points. So it's points, straight path of points, but it has no end or no beginning. So this is a line, because you see the arrows is just showing on it extends forever in both directions. What is the symbol for the line? It's just what you see. You would just draw that. And then how do you identify? Well, you use the symbol and then you use 2 points. So if I have another line, let's show one. If I have another line right here, let's try a different color. Right there with a point S and point T. If I want to identify that line, I could call it line, see the symbol? ST. I could call it line QT. I'm still talking about this line. I can call it line TQ. As long as you use the symbol for the line and use 2 points that's on that line, you are identifying it correctly. So we could have multiple identifications for this line here. Okay, so if you go back to that chart, you're going to write your definition. Remember, the symbol is just the arrow, and then that's a bad drawing. The symbol is just the arrow, and then whenever you identify, it's 2 points, and then the symbol above it. And then don't forget the definition. And then what's a line segment? Well, a line segment, well, it's part of a line. So it means it has a beginning and it has a end. That's right. A line segment, what do we got here? What we got out of the way? Consists of a beginning point and an end point. It's a line, but it has a beginning and an end. And it's made up of a bunch of points. So here is a line segment. There's actually a couple. We've got a line segment of AH, we've got a line segment of HB, we also have a line segment of AB. The symbol for line segment is just a dash, okay? Some people will do this. They like to put the little dots here. I want to draw little dots right here, you know, just draw a little dot. I mean, this is more work, why do that? But some people will draw the little dots at the end of the line segment. But that's the symbol, okay? And if you identify a line segment, again, you got to use the symbol and 2 points. You got to do the symbol, 2 points. So if I say line segment AB, I'm talking about from here to here. But if I say line segment HB, then you're going, oh, you're talking about from here to here. And if I say line segment HA, you're like from here to here, okay? So, and then all line segments have a midpoint. And that midpoint's the half mark between the 2 endpoints. Okay, so again, go back to your video to the very first page and just fill that information in, the symbol, how do you identify it? You guys should say, well, the symbol's just a little dash, you always identify with 2 points, and then blah, 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 give your definition. We're almost done. Last thing I think I want to discuss is what is array? What is array, okay? So you can see here, array, based on what you see, you probably can come up with your own definition. Array has a beginning point, but no end. So array is a line that has a beginning but no end. So it goes on forever, okay? What's the symbol? Well, again, it's just not rocket science. The symbol is going to look like array. But it's always going to the right. And whenever you identify array, you just use 2 points. You always use 2 points. So here, this is ray TU. I can do something like this. I can have a line right here, and I can have a point here, and a point here. And if I want to identify, I can identify a ray on this line. I could say ray, again, the symbol always goes to your right. I could say ray RS. And if I write that down, ray RS, I know I'm talking about from here to here. I'm starting at this beginning point, going this direction. It's on a line, but we're identifying the ray from here to here. Okay? So the important thing to remember about array is, again, you're going to do the symbol, and you're going to use 2 points, but that ray symbol always has to go to the right. I don't know why, but that's just the way it is in the book. Why does ray symbol have to go right? I don't know, but it is. So here, if I say ray RS, that would be wrong. That symbol has to go to the right, even though it's going this direction. Got it? So go back to the first page. Okay. And I went too far. put in your notes again. You have the ray symbol, and then 2 points, and then your blah, 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 blah. And we are actually going to stop there. We're not going to discuss, well, let me just stop. So now what I want you to do, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Now just press pause and solve these, answer these 5 questions. So I've got a diagram over here with a line segment, a line, an array, and I want you to identify a line from this diagram. I want you to identify a line segment, identify array, and just how many midpoints does line segment CD have, and then the last question, okay? And then what we'll do is the next day, discuss collinear points and coplanar planes. That sounds kind of weird, coplanar planes. But hope you guys really enjoyed the video tutorial. I do have a joke to tell you. I thought I did. So, what did the acorn say when it grew up? What did the acorn say when it grew up? Geometry. Get it? Gee, I'm a tree. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.